Most people think time is slipping away from their hands because there is too much to do and too little time. But the real issue is not time. It is a lack of clarity. When your vision is clouded, when your priorities are scattered, and when your mind is in chaos, even 24 hours will not seem enough. But if you bring clarity into your life, suddenly, everything starts falling into place. Clarity is not about having all the answers. It is about asking the right questions. It is about seeing things the way they are, not the way your fears, desires, or social conditioning paint them to be. When your perception becomes clear, your actions become precise. There is no more energy wasted on unnecessary drama, overthinking, or running in circles. If you look at nature, there is immense intelligence and precision in every movement. A tree does not sit and wonder whether it should grow left or right. The rivers do not debate whether to flow downhill or uphill. There is a certain natural order. That same intelligence is available to you, but only when your mind becomes still and clear. Otherwise, you are just reacting to the chaos outside and within. Every moment of your life, you are either making decisions, consciously or unconsciously. And every decision has a cost. It takes your time, your energy, and your attention. If your mind is cluttered, you keep switching directions. Today you want this, tomorrow something else. You chase distractions, opinions, comparisons, and social validations. In this process, you burn time, not live it. Clarity brings focus, and focus is the force that cuts through the noise. Just like sunlight becomes powerful when it passes through a magnifying glass, your life becomes powerful when your mind is aligned and sharp. But this is not about becoming serious or stressed. Clarity actually brings ease. You simply stop wasting effort on what doesn't matter. People often confuse busyness with purpose. They fill their day with meetings, messages, and multitasking, thinking they are being productive. But the question is not how much you do, but how much of what you do actually matters. Without clarity, you climb the ladder of success only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. When there is no clarity, emotions rule your decisions. One day you feel inspired, the next day hopeless. One moment you love what you do, the next you hate it. This emotional roller coaster drains your energy. But when your direction is clear, emotions become secondary. You may feel low or tired, but you still move. You act because you have seen where you want to go, not because you feel like it. To bring clarity, the first step is to become aware of the noise. Sit with yourself, not with your phone. Observe your mind, not to judge, but to understand. What is truly important to you? What is just borrowed from society, family, or social media? What are you doing just to fit in? And what are you doing because it genuinely matters to your inner being? This requires brutal honesty. You cannot afford to lie to yourself and expect a clear life. You must drop the masks, the pretensions, and look at life with naked eyes. Otherwise, you will keep repeating the same cycles, and every year will look like a copy of the previous one with different packaging. Clarity also means knowing that you cannot do everything. Time becomes valuable when you stop trying to do 100 things and instead focus on the few that deeply matter. Life is not about doing more, it's about doing what's meaningful with full involvement. You cannot water every plant in the garden. Some will have to be let go. But remember, clarity is not a one-time achievement. It is a constant process. Every day life changes, you change, the world changes. So you must revisit your vision, your direction, your intentions. Are they still true to you, or have they become outdated? Are you still living with last year's dreams that no longer fit your present self? People spend hours cleaning their homes, organizing their desks, decorating their lives. But they rarely spend time clearing their minds. A cluttered mind cannot create a rich life. Without clarity, even your hard work turns into struggle. But with clarity, even simple actions bring fulfillment. Clarity also brings confidence, not arrogance, but an inner knowing. You are not shaken by every opinion, every rejection, or every obstacle. You know where you stand, and more importantly, you know where you're going. This inner stability allows you to stay grounded even when life becomes unpredictable. Without clarity, you live in reaction. You jump from one thing to another, pulled by circumstances, people, and your own whims. But with clarity, you respond with intelligence. In life, what you prioritize becomes sacred. It shapes your experience, defines your direction, and determines the value of your time. People often think their priorities are dictated by external demands, work, family, society. But the truth is, what you consistently choose to give your time and attention to becomes the central force of your life. It becomes your personal deity, whether you are aware of it or not. Your time is not just ticking away on a clock. It is flowing in the direction of your focus. If your focus is scattered, your time is diluted. If your focus is aligned with what truly matters to you, your time becomes a powerful instrument. But the problem is, many people do not know what truly matters to them. They get caught in the machinery of life, reacting to situations instead of consciously choosing their direction. Prioritization is not a to-do list, it is a reflection of your values. If you say your health is important, but never move your body or eat consciously, it means it's not really a priority. If you say your relationships are meaningful, but you never make time for genuine connection, then your actions are in conflict with your words. This dissonance is what creates anxiety and inner restlessness. You may not realize it, but your system knows when you're. To make your time more valuable than gold, you must treat your priorities with reverence, not in a rigid or obsessive way, but with a deep sense of commitment. If something is important, it should be reflected in your daily rhythm, not just in grand gestures, but in the quiet choices you make each day, what you say yes to, what you say no to, what you make space for in your schedule, and what you let go. When you prioritize consciously, you are not just managing time, you are designing your life. You are saying, this is what matters to me. This is where I will invest the limited energy I have. It's a powerful declaration, because once you take ownership of your priorities, you stop blaming the world for your distractions. You stop saying, I don't have time, and you start saying, it's not a priority, which is far more honest and transformative. The issue is not that people lack time. The issue is that they have too many things they treat as equally important. They try to juggle everything, and in the process, they end up holding nothing with real presence. When everything is urgent, nothing is truly important. You must have the courage to let some things fall away, to create space for what is essential. To clarify your priorities, ask yourself, what would still matter to me if no one was watching, if there was no applause, no recognition? What would I still do if I were the last person on earth? These questions remove the noise of social validation and bring you back to your authentic core. Because only when your priorities are rooted in truth, not trend, can they nourish you deeply. Your priorities also determine your mental state. If your priorities are shallow, your mind will be agitated, always chasing. But if your priorities are deep and meaningful, your mind finds stability. You don't need external motivation. Your actions become an expression of your innermost values, not a performance for the outside world. One way to check your real priorities is to observe your habits. Look at how you spend your mornings. Look at what fills your evenings. Look at where your money goes, where your attention lingers. These are not small details. They are reflections of your inner architecture. If your actions and priorities are misaligned, your time becomes fragmented and your energy becomes weak. It is not that you must only focus on one thing and ignore everything else. Life is complex. You may have work, family, health, creativity, learning, all important areas. But even in this, there must be a hierarchy. Not everything can be number one. In every phase of life, different things may take center stage. You must be fluid, yet clear. When you start giving your highest energy to your highest priority, you start experiencing a sense of inner coherence. Your thoughts, words, and actions begin to move in one direction. This is what gives momentum to life. This is how ordinary people achieve extraordinary results, not because they had more time, but because they knew where to place their time. When your priorities are clear, your decisions become easier. You no longer need to weigh every option 100 times. You simply ask, does this align with what I value most right now? If yes, you do it. If not, you release it without guilt. This clarity brings peace, and peace brings presence. Being busy is not the same as being effective. In today's world, busyness has become a badge of honor. People take pride in saying they are always working, always running, always occupied. But if you look closely, this constant busyness is not necessarily leading them anywhere meaningful. It is just motion, not progress. Like a rocking chair, there is a lot of movement, but no forward journey. Effectiveness is about doing what truly matters, not doing more. You can spend your entire day responding to emails, checking notifications, rushing from one meeting to another, and still feel unfulfilled. This is because your actions are not connected to a deeper sense of purpose. They are mechanical, reactive, driven by urgency rather than intelligence. Busyness often comes from a need to feel important. If you are constantly in demand, constantly overwhelmed, it gives you the illusion that your life is significant. But significance does not come from activity, it comes from impact. It comes from doing fewer things with more clarity, more depth, and more presence. Being effective means your time creates value, not just activity. Look at nature. A lion is not busy all day. It conserves its energy and moves only when necessary. But when it moves with precision and power. A tree does not try to grow 5 branches in 5 directions every second. It grows steadily, rooted deeply, responding to the seasons. This is the way of effectiveness. Doing what is needed, at the right time, in the right way, with total involvement. People often confuse effort with result. Just because you are tired at the end of the day does not mean you used your time wisely. Many times, tiredness is a sign of disorganized effort, of scattering your energy across too many things. When you are effective, you may work intensely, but you feel energized because your actions are aligned with something meaningful. To become effective, the first step is awareness. Observe your daily routine. How much of it is filled with things that truly matter, and how much is just noise? Meetings that could have been emails, conversations that go in circles, tasks you take on out of habit or guilt. If you are not conscious, your life becomes a reaction to other people's priorities instead of an expression of your own. Effectiveness requires the courage to say no, not out of arrogance, but out of clarity. Every yes you say to something unimportant is a no to something essential. You cannot do everything, and that is not a weakness, it is a truth. When you acknowledge this, you begin to choose wisely. You stop trying to prove your worth through your schedule and start directing your energy with intention. Another aspect of effectiveness is attention. When you do something with complete attention, it takes less time and produces better results. But when you're half present, distracted, jumping between tasks, everything takes longer and feels heavier. Multitasking is a myth. Your mind can only focus deeply on one thing at a time. If you want to make your time valuable, bring the power of your full attention to what you're doing right now. Technology has made us more connected than ever, but it has also made us more distracted. Notifications, alerts, constant connectivity, these are tools, but when you become a slave to them, they drain your effectiveness. You must learn to create boundaries. Carve out spaces in your day where you are not reachable, not responsive, just fully engaged with one thing. These are the moments where real progress happens. Being effective also means reflecting regularly, not just doing things, but stepping back and asking, why am I doing this? Is this the best use of my energy right now? What is the outcome I'm aiming for? This kind of reflection brings clarity, and clarity leads to better choices. Without reflection, you keep running without knowing if you are running in the right direction. It is not about being slow or lazy, it is about being conscious. If you can bring consciousness into your action, even a few hours of focused work can accomplish more than an entire day of chaotic busyness. It is not about working harder, it is about working cleaner, simpler, more intelligently. People who are effective do not just fill their calendars. They shape their days with intention. They leave space for rest, for silence, for creativity, because they understand that a mind that is always occupied cannot produce anything of depth. It is in the gaps, the pauses, the moments of stillness that true insight arises. To move from busyness to effectiveness, you must stop measuring your day by how many things you did and start measuring by how well you did the few things that actually mattered. When you align your actions with your inner purpose, something extraordinary happens. Time becomes a tool that works for you rather than against you. The key to making your time more valuable than gold is not simply about managing tasks or being productive. It's about ensuring that every action you take is rooted in a deeper sense of why you are doing it in the first place. Without purpose, time slips away, wasted in the noise and chaos of daily life. With purpose, each moment becomes meaningful, and every choice becomes a reflection of something more profound. Purpose is not a goal that can be achieved or a destination that can be reached. It is a compass, a guiding force that gives direction to your life. When you know why you are doing something, when you feel the deep connection between your actions and your inner values, time becomes your ally. You begin to spend it on what truly matters to you, and everything else loses its importance. However, most people do not live with this alignment. They are often disconnected from their true purpose, caught up in the expectations of society, family, and peers. They live their lives as if they are on autopilot, doing what is expected, what is safe, or what is convenient, rather than what truly resonates with their soul. As a result, their time is spent on tasks that do not bring them fulfillment or growth. They might be busy, but they are not effective. They might have the appearance of success, but they lack the inner satisfaction that comes from living a purpose-driven life. To truly align your actions with your inner purpose, you must first be willing to explore who you are at the deepest level. What is it that excites you, that makes you feel alive, that calls you to create, to learn, or to give? What is the reason you wake up every day? When you begin to answer these questions honestly, you start to discover the threads that weave your life together. Your passions, your values, your strengths. Living in alignment with purpose means that every action you take is in harmony with your deeper values. When you are living on purpose, you do not waste your time on things that do not serve your growth or contribute to your well-being. You stop saying yes to things out of obligation or guilt, and you start saying yes to the things that nourish your soul and align with your highest aspiration. It is easy to get distracted in a world that is constantly pulling your attention in different directions. There are endless opportunities, pressures, and distractions that tempt you to chase after things that seem important in the moment, but ultimately do not contribute to your deeper sense of fulfillment. To align your actions with your inner purpose, you must learn to say no to the distractions that do not serve you. You must create space in your life for the things that matter most, and this requires conscious effort and discipline. When you are aligned with your purpose, the work you do feels effortless, even when it is challenging. There is a flow that happens when your actions are aligned with your values and passions. Challenges become opportunities for growth rather than obstacles to be avoided. Time, rather than being something to manage, becomes an expression of your fullest potential. This is not to say that everything in life will be easy or that there will not be difficulties along the way. Purpose does not make life free from struggle, but it does make the struggle meaningful. When your actions are aligned with your purpose, you can endure hardships because you know that they are part of your journey. Every setback becomes a lesson, and every challenge is an opportunity to deepen your commitment to your purpose. One of the greatest gifts of living with purpose is that it brings clarity to your choices. When you know what truly matters to you, it becomes easier to decide what to spend your time on. You no longer have to waste energy deciding between countless options because your purpose guides you. You can prioritize the things that will move you closer to your goals, and you can let go of the things that are irrelevant or distracting. This clarity allows you to focus your time and energy on the most important tasks and relationships in your life. Purpose also helps you become resilient in the face of adversity. When your actions are aligned with your deeper values, you become less susceptible to the fluctuations of the external world. You are not easily shaken by criticism, rejection, or failure. You have a deep-rooted sense of confidence that comes from knowing that you are walking a path that is true to who you are. This confidence is what makes your time valuable. It allows you to move forward with purpose even when things get difficult. Living with purpose is a lifelong journey. It requires continuous self-reflection, learning, and growth. Your purpose may evolve over time, and that is part of the process. The more you align your actions with your inner calling, the more you will experience the richness of life. You will begin to see that time, when used wisely, becomes a precious gift, a resource that can be spent in ways that the way you manage distractions directly impacts the value of your time. Distractions have a unique power over our lives. They pull us away from what matters, often without us even realizing it. We live in a world full of interruptions. The ping of notifications, the lure of social media, the constant hum of technology demanding our attention. These distractions are like invisible forces, stealing your time and energy, leaving you feeling drained and unaccomplished. To make your time more valuable than gold, you must learn to protect it from these distractions and create an environment that fosters focus and clarity. Distractions come in many forms. Some are external, like phone calls or messages that interrupt your flow, while others are internal, like racing thoughts or the pull of boredom. These internal distractions can be particularly challenging because they arise from within, making it difficult to identify and control them. But regardless of their source, distractions share a common feature. They take you away from the present moment, preventing you from fully engaging in the task at hand. One of the key reasons distractions are so powerful is that they prey on your attention. Attention is one of your most valuable resources, and once it is diverted, it can take time to regain focus. Studies have shown that switching between tasks, multitasking, as it is often called, does not actually make you more productive. Instead, it slows you down and depletes your energy. When you are constantly jumping from one thing to another, you cannot dive deeply into any one task. The depth of your engagement is reduced, and the quality of your work suffers. This is why it's crucial to recognize distractions as they arise and take active steps to limit their impact. The first step in managing distractions is awareness. You must become conscious of when and how you are being distracted. Is it when you check your phone? Is it when your mind starts wandering during a conversation or a meeting? The moment you recognize that you are being pulled away from the task at hand, you have the opportunity to make a choice. Do you continue to follow the distraction, or do you refocus and return to what you were doing? Building this awareness takes practice, but over time you will start to notice the subtle ways distractions enter your life. Once you are aware of distractions, you must take steps to minimize them. One of the most effective ways to protect your time is by setting boundaries. In the digital age, this means limiting your access to technology during times when you need to focus. This might mean turning off notifications, setting your phone to do not disturb, or even scheduling specific times to check emails and messages. The key is to create blocks of time where you can work uninterrupted, allowing you to dive deep into the task at hand without constant interruptions. It's not about cutting off all communication, it's about creating a designated time for it so that it doesn't constantly disrupt your flow. In addition to managing external distractions, you must also address internal distractions. These often arise when your mind is filled with worries, to-do lists, or thoughts of the future or past. The more you allow these thoughts to run rampant, the harder it becomes to concentrate on the present moment. One way to manage internal distractions is through mindfulness. By practicing mindfulness, you train your mind to be fully present in the task at hand, rather than getting lost in thoughts that are unrelated to your work. Mindfulness allows you to acknowledge distractions without allowing them to control you. Instead of becoming frustrated by your wandering mind, you simply recognize the thought and gently bring your focus back to what you're doing. Another strategy for minimizing distractions is creating a physical environment that promotes focus. Your environment plays a significant role in how easily you can concentrate. A cluttered, chaotic workspace can create a mental environment that mirrors the physical mess, making it harder to focus. On the other hand, a clean, organized workspace can help signal to your mind that it is time to concentrate. Consider removing unnecessary items from your workspace and creating a designated area for focused work. This physical separation between spaces for relaxation and work helps condition your mind to shift gears when you enter your workspace. Distractions are not always easy to avoid, and sometimes they are unavoidable. There will always be moments when the phone rings, when an urgent message comes through, or when your mind wanders. In these moments, instead of fighting against the distraction, accept it with equanimity. Acknowledge the distraction, take a brief pause, and then return your focus to your task. The key is to not let the distraction completely derail your progress. Recognize it, deal with it, and move on. This practice allows you to regain control of your time rather than allowing external factors to control you. Ultimately, managing distractions is about creating habits and systems that protect your time. It's about designing your life in a way that allows you to focus on what matters most without being constantly pulled away from it. When you learn to minimize distractions, you not only make your time more valuable, but also increase the quality of your work and your sense of fulfillment. To truly make your time valuable, you must learn the power of saying no. In today's fast-paced, interconnected world, there is an overwhelming pressure to say yes to everything, whether it's a new project at work, a social engagement, or the endless list of tasks that come with everyday life. We are conditioned to believe that saying yes makes us productive, helpful, or valuable. However, the truth is that by saying yes to everything, you are often saying no to the most important things. Learning how to say no is not a rejection of opportunities. It is a recognition of your own priorities and a commitment to using your time in the most meaningful ways possible. Saying yes to everything can easily lead to overwhelm. It creates a cluttered life where your time is spread thin and your energy is depleted. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your core values or your long-term goals, you are essentially taking time away from what truly matters. You might feel good in the short term as though you are being responsible or helpful, but in the long run, this constant obligation leads to burnout and dissatisfaction. You end up doing many things, but none of them with the full focus, dedication, and energy they deserve. The ability to say no is a critical skill for managing your time effectively. It requires a deep understanding of your priorities and an awareness of your own limitations. By learning to say no, you are creating space for the things that truly matter. You are making conscious choices about how you spend your time rather than allowing others or circumstances to dictate it for you. Saying no is an act of self-respect. It is a declaration that your time is valuable and that you're only willing to invest it in the things that contribute meaningfully to your life and goals. One of the reasons people struggle with saying no is the fear of letting others down or being seen as uncooperative. There is often a pressure to say yes in order to please others, maintain relationships, or avoid conflict. However, this tendency to people please can lead to resentment and frustration. When you say yes to something that you don't truly want to do, it erodes your energy and motivation. This eventually affects your relationships, your work, and your own sense of fulfillment. Learning to say no is not about being selfish. It is about being honest and respectful, both to yourself and to others. When you say no, you are actually giving others the opportunity to find someone who is truly capable and willing to take on the task. You are not diminishing the value of your relationships, rather you are creating the conditions for them to be based on mutual respect and genuine connection. Another challenge that arises with saying no is the fear of missing out. In a world where opportunities seem endless and time feels limited, it's natural to want to seize every chance that comes your way. But the truth is, not every opportunity is the right one for you, and not every choice will lead to a meaningful or fulfilling outcome. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your deeper values or long-term vision, you are saying no to something else, whether it's personal time, creative work, or time spent with loved ones. By learning to evaluate opportunities carefully and discerning which ones truly align with your purpose, you can start to say no to the distractions that pull you away from what truly matters. Saying no also involves setting boundaries. Boundaries are essential for protecting your time and energy. Without them, you risk being constantly pulled in different directions, leaving you feeling scattered and ineffective. Setting boundaries is not about being rigid or uncooperative. It is about creating a structure that allows you to live and work in alignment with your values. Whether it's saying no to additional work commitments when you already have too much on your plate, or declining invitations to social events that don't align with your priorities, boundaries help you protect your time and preserve your energy for the things that truly matter. When you get comfortable with saying no, you begin to experience a sense of freedom and empowerment. You realize that you have control over how you spend your time. Instead of reacting to the demands of others or the pressures of the world, you take proactive steps to ensure that your time is being used in the most meaningful way. This sense of autonomy allows you to pursue your goals with greater clarity and focus. You stop spreading yourself thin and start investing your time and energy into projects and relationships that bring you true fulfillment. Saying no also creates space for yeses that truly count. By saying no to the things that drain you or don't align with your vision, you create room for the things that are truly important. You can say yes to the projects that excite you, to the relationships that nourish you, and to the activities that bring you joy. Every time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you are making a conscious decision to prioritize your well-being, your growth, and your purpose. The more you practice saying no, the more you begin to see how precious your time really is. You start to value it as a finite resource that should be spent wisely and intentionally. Ultimately, the ability to say no is about mastering the art of decision-making. It is about understanding that not every opportunity, request, or demand requires a yes. By learning to say no, you are actively creating a life that is more focused, intentional, and aligned with your deepest values. The more you practice saying no, the more you will realize that your time is, indeed, more valuable than gold.